All right, everyone, welcome back to the Neuro Dojo. Today we're tackling something that's been buzzing around, but I think many people actually think it's kind of gone away, and that's AI video. But I'm here to tell you, AI video didn't go away. Nope, it went invisible. It's like CGI in movies, you only notice it when it's bad. When it's good, it disappears, and that's exactly what's happening to our feeds. In addition to that, we'll be looking back a bit on what AI's impact was on 2025 and looking to make some predictions on what we think 2026 will bring. Okay, so by now, you already know the crew, and yes, everybody's here. But for the newbies in the dojo, here's who's tackling this one with me today. Bella, aka Miss Across the Pond. She's the charming reality check with the polite tone and the sharpest wait, explain that you've ever heard. Jules, aka Straight No Chase. She's here to call out the fluff, cut through the BS, and get us to the part that actually matters. And Jim, the baritone bully, he's our impact plus process guide. He's always pulling the convo out of theory and into, okay, what does this change and how does it actually work? Now, with that out of the way, let's get into it. So, AI video has gone absolutely beast mode this year. It's integrated itself so seamlessly into our digital lives that we're barely aware it's there, influencing what we see, what we hear, and even what we believe. And the implications of this shift are just mind blowing. Think about this for a second. A scene that would have taken studios hundreds of thousands, sometimes even millions, and a whole specialized team to create, now, with the right AI tools, gets you 90 to 95% of the way there with a subscription that costs less than most people's Starbucks habit. I mean, we're not talking about perfectly finished Hollywood blockbusters, but for everything else, it's absolutely transformational.
That's such a perfect way to put it, Katie. It went invisible. Because that's exactly the vibe shift people have been feeling. On the surface, it feels like the big, splashy AI-generated labels aren't as prominent anymore. Like we're seeing less of the obvious deepfakes or glitchy AI art. But beneath that, the reality is, our feeds are probably more saturated with AI-generated or AI-assisted content than ever before. It's just better, more subtle, and that's why we're not noticing it as much. It's a weird kind of paradox.
Yeah, Bella, you hit the nail on the head. We stop noticing. And that's by design, right? The algorithms, they're not incentivized to show you human-made content, they're incentivized to show you engaging content. And if an AI can generate something that's just as or even more engaging than a human can, faster and cheaper, then that's what's going to rise to the top. It's like a race to the bottom for attention. And what we're seeing, honestly, is this rise of what most call brain rot or AI slop content. It's content that's just good enough to keep you scrolling to hit that dopamine button, but it lacks any real substance or unique human touch.
Jules is absolutely right. From a system perspective, it's the perfect storm. You've got an attention economy that constantly demands novelty and volume. You've got cheap, practically free generation capabilities from AI. And then, critically, you have detection mechanisms that simply can't keep up at scale. The platforms are overwhelmed. And we've seen this playing out. Take the recent findings about YouTube recommendations being heavily populated by what people are calling AI slop. It wasn't just a few videos, it was a significant portion of what was being pushed, leading people down bizarre rabbit holes of low-effort, algorithmically optimized nonsense. The sheer volume of AI-generated content is undeniably real, and it's shaping our digital experience in ways we're only just beginning to grasp.
That's a dope point, Jim. And this brings us right into how this invisibility and saturation is profoundly disrupting the creative industries. We're essentially watching the indie scene get hit from both sides. On one hand, it's cheaper creation, which sounds great for independent artists, right? They can do so much more with less budget. But on the other, it's cheaper imitation. Anyone can now create something that looks or sounds incredibly similar to an established artist's work, but without the years of effort, the unique voice, the actual talent. It's a double-edged sword.
And this is where we have to talk about the uncomfortable truth, Katie. The audience doesn't always care if it's human. If it hits that dopamine button, if it's catchy, if it's visually stimulating, if it evokes an emotion, whether it's genuine or manufactured, a significant portion of the audience just consumes it. They might even prefer the optimized, perfect AI version over something raw and human with its imperfections. It's a bitter pill to swallow for creators who pour their heart and soul into their work.
Well, I think that's why the industry response, particularly in music, is moving towards licensing and control. We're seeing a clear shift. This is a bit of a full circle moment related to our first episode on AI music. Major labels and platforms are starting to plan for licensed AI music models and platforms, with a significant rollout expected in 2026. Instead of the wild west of generate anything anywhere, the idea is to create controlled environments where artists can opt into having their voice, their style, their catalog used to train AI. This allows them to get paid fairly for it, and it gives the industry a way to manage quality and ownership. It's a complete pivot from trying to fight the tech to integrating it in a structured way.
Right, I mean, we've already seen that play out, haven't we? That whole controversy around the AI-generated country track that actually hit the charts? It just shows you how quickly these things can become mainstream and how much tension it creates for human artists. It's like, wait, is this really happening?
Absolutely, Bella. And that's not just a creative disruption, it spirals into a much larger societal issue, the trust crisis. When everything can be faked, when we can't tell what's real and what's not. What's the emotional fallout of that? What happens to our shared reality?
Oh, fair point, Jim. The emotional fallout is huge. There are so many people who are just feeling this low hum of paranoia. They see something online, a video, an image, and the first thought isn't, is this true? It's, is this even real? And that constant questioning, that lack of certainty, it's exhausting. It breeds distrust not just in media but in each other. It makes you feel like, I don't know what's real anymore, and that's a really dangerous place for a society to be.
And this is precisely why provenance matters so much. We need to know the origin and history of a piece of content. Who created it? When? Has it been altered? Technologies like C2PA, Content Authenticity Initiative, are trying to embed cryptographically verifiable metadata directly into files. This is great in theory, but the problem is, when content hits major platforms, social media, messaging apps, that metadata often gets stripped away. It's a huge challenge to maintain that chain of trust once something goes viral and gets reshared countless times across different ecosystems. It's not just about creating the tech, it's about the platforms actually supporting and preserving it.
Which leads me to my golden rule for navigating the trust crisis. If it makes you mad instantly, assume it's engineered to. Seriously. Because that's what these weaponized synthetic media pieces are designed to do. They bypass your critical thinking and go straight for your emotional core, trying to provoke an immediate, often negative reaction. We've seen this with the rise of racist viral AI fakes. They're not just misleading, they're inflammatory. They're designed to divide, to incite anger, and they're incredibly effective because they tap into our most primal responses. It's a scary thought that our outrage can be so easily manufactured.
That's a powerful and frankly chilling piece of advice, KT. If it makes you mad instantly, assume it's engineered to. I think we all need to engrave that one somewhere visible. So, given everything we've discussed about the invisible AI of 2025, what are we looking forward to in 2026? What are some predictions that hopefully won't age too badly?
Well, building on what I mentioned earlier, I think licensed AI music is going to become much more mainstream. We'll see more opt-in artist voice models and paid platforms emerge, moving away from just Wild West generators. Artists will start to see a path to monetizing their digital likeness and creative output even through AI. It won't solve everything, but it's a step towards legitimizing the space. I think how successful that is or isn't will heavily impact how and if it gets rolled out in any other applicable areas across the creative and content generation space as a whole.
I really hope so, and I think provenance will naturally become a much bigger deal. We're already seeing the push for Content Credentials and C2PA adoption, but the real fight, as Jim said, is going to be platform support and persistence. If the major social media and content hosting sites don't actively preserve and display this metadata, then it's a losing battle. But the pressure is building for them to do so, for the sake of trust.
And with that pressure, I predict regulation pressure is really going to increase. We're already seeing state-level frameworks starting to take effect in 2026, especially around transparency. Companies are going to face more compliance work. It's not just a nice-to-have anymore. It's becoming a legal requirement to disclose when AI has been used, especially in certain sensitive contexts. This will force a lot of changes in how content is produced and labeled.
I think one more but slightly different prediction. Infrastructure is going to become a much larger part of the AI conversation. The energy demand, the need for massive data centers, these aren't just nerd talk anymore. They're dinner table topics. People are going to start asking, where does the power come from for all this AI? What's the environmental cost? It's a critical, underlying issue that's going to get a lot more public scrutiny.
Good point, Jim, and let's keep it real. People don't care about infrastructure until it hits their wallet. When your electric bill creeps up, when your city is fighting over a new data center, when the grid starts getting blamed for outages, suddenly everyone's an energy expert. AI isn't just software anymore, it's an appetite. And the companies that act like power is infinite are going to get dragged when the public connects the dots.
Yeah, and if I'm honest, this is where it shifts from curiosity to concern for everyday people. When something feels invisible, people tolerate it. The moment it feels like it's costing them something real, money, noise, land use, Even the feeling that their community is being reshaped, the tone changes. Parents start asking what kind of world we're building for their kids and whether the convenience is worth the trade. So it's not just energy calculations, it's trust, transparency, and fairness.
Yep, and this is the part nobody wants to talk about because it's not as sexy as new models and flashy demos, but Jim's right. AI is not just code, it's a physical industry now, which means power, land, water, permits, politics, and who gets stuck with the trade-offs. And the second the average person actually feels it, higher bills, new data centers popping up, why is my town paying for this? The conversation shifts from AI is cool to AI is costing us. So for 2026, I think the winners aren't just the companies with the best models, they're the ones that can answer two questions without dodging. Where is the power coming from and who is paying the price for it? Because once real people start discussing AI at the dinner table, the PR spin stops working. Okay, I think those are some solid predictions and it paints a picture of a pivotal year ahead. So if I had to distill all of this into one dojo style mantra for 2026, it would be this. 2025 made it easy to create, but 2026 is about receipts. Receipts for what's real, receipts for who owns what, receipts for who gets paid, and receipts for what it costs to run all of this in the real world, power, land, water, and the communities carrying the load. That's the shift. Less hype, more accountability, authenticity, and transparency. Thank you all for listening in to this convo. It's been genuinely insightful, but I'm curious what the audience thinks about this. Let us know in the comments. Do all the algo-friendly things before you dip, and we'll catch you in the next one inside the Neuro Dojo.